It started with the necklace. A glittering string of diamonds, set in rose gold, delicate yet far too extravagant for what we could afford. Lisa had worn it home last Tuesday, her smile as wide as the sky, her fingers constantly brushing against the jewels as if to remind herself they were real. I noticed it immediately. We weren't poor, but we certainly weren't living the kind of life where a diamond necklace casually shows up in your wardrobe. She claimed it was a gift from work, a reward for hitting some big milestone on a project I vaguely remembered her mentioning weeks ago. From work? I asked, raising an eyebrow. They just hand out diamonds now. She laughed, her tone breezy, dismissive. Not all companies are as stingy as yours, Dan. She reached over, gave me a peck on the cheek. It's nice, isn't it? It was beautiful, no denying that. But something about it didn't sit right. Lisa's company was known for being generous with bonuses, but this seemed personal. Too intimate, too deliberate. I tried to shake off the unease, but it lingered, an itch I couldn't scratch. Over the next week, the necklace stayed on her. At breakfast, during dinner, even when she came back from the gym, it never left her neck. I started noticing other things, too. The new perfume, floral, sweet, nothing like the earthy tones she used to wear. Late nights at the office became more frequent, her excuses flimsier. Once, I called her phone around 9 p.m., and it went straight to voicemail. When she came home 2 hours later, she claimed she'd forgotten it at her desk. But her purse was zipped shut, and the phone was in there. I couldn't ignore it anymore. Something was wrong. One night, while she was in the shower, I picked up her phone. It was locked, of course, but I'd seen her type in the code enough times, 4 swift taps. The screen opened, and there it was, a thread of messages with someone saved as Kelly, work. I knew a Kelly from her office, but this wasn't her. The messages weren't about work at all. They were flirty, teasing. References to dinners, weekends, things Lisa had never mentioned to me. And then the pictures. One of her wearing that necklace, smiling in a way I hadn't seen in years. Another, taken in a hotel room, the bed in the background a crumpled mess. My hands trembled as I scrolled. Every fiber of me wanted to smash her phone against the wall, but I didn't. I couldn't. Not yet. Instead, I took pictures of the messages with my own phone and put hers back exactly where I found it. That night, as Lisa slept beside me, I stared at the ceiling, a storm brewing in my chest. I felt like a fool. For months, I'd been blind to what was happening right under my nose. But not anymore. I was done being the clueless husband. If she wanted to play games, fine. I'd show her I could play, too. The next morning, I acted like nothing had changed. I kissed her goodbye, wished her a good day at work, and watched her drive off. Then, I got to work. First, I called a lawyer. I wasn't going to make any rash moves, but I wanted to know my options. If this blew up, I needed to protect myself. Next, I hired a private investigator. It felt cliché, but I needed proof, real, undeniable proof. Something that would make her lies crumble like a house of cards. Over the next week, I pieced together the truth. The investigator's reports came in quickly. Lisa had been seeing someone. A guy named Andrew. Not a coworker, but a client. Wealthy, older, divorced. They'd been meeting for months. Fancy dinners, weekend getaways, even gifts, the necklace being just one of many. I kept my cool, but inside, I was boiling. Every time she came home late, every time she smiled at me like nothing was wrong, I wanted to confront her, to scream. But I waited. I wanted her to dig her own grave. Finally, the opportunity presented itself. Lisa had planned a weekend trip with friends, another lie. I'd seen the confirmation email for a luxury resort under Andrew's name. She left Friday afternoon, suitcase in hand, blowing me a kiss as she walked out the door. As soon as she was gone, I set my plan in motion. I drove to the resort, arriving late in the evening. The investigator had provided me with their room number, and I had a keycard, courtesy of a little persuasion at the front desk. When I opened the door, they were in bed, tangled together, oblivious to the world. Lisa's scream could have shattered glass. She scrambled to cover herself, her face a mask of shock and terror. Andrew just sat there, dumbfounded. Surprised to see me, I said, my voice steady despite the adrenaline surging through me. Dan, what are you doing here? Lisa stammered, her eyes darting between me and Andrew. I didn't answer. Instead, I pulled out my phone and played a video. It was a compilation of photos and messages, everything I'd gathered over the past weeks. Her betrayal laid bare. "You lied to me," I said, my voice rising. "Over and over again. You thought you could just sneak around, make a fool of me. Did you really think I wouldn't find out?" Lisa burst into tears, her words tumbling out in a desperate mess. "I'm sorry, Dan. I made a mistake. I didn't mean for this to happen." "A mistake?" I laughed, a cold, bitter sound. "A mistake is forgetting to pick up milk. This was deliberate. You chose this, Lisa. Every time you lied to my face, every time you came home smelling like him, you made a choice." Andrew, who had been silent until now, tried to intervene. "Look, man, I didn't know she was married. If I had, save it," I snapped. "This isn't about you." I turned back to Lisa. "You've taken everything from me. My trust, my dignity. But not anymore. You can keep your diamonds, your trips, your little fairy tale. Because starting now, you're on your own." With that, I threw the divorce papers on the bed. "I've already signed them. The house, it's mine. The car, also mine. You'll be hearing from my lawyer about the rest." Lisa's face crumbled. "Dan, please, don't do this. We can fix this. I love you. You love me." I shook my head. "You don't even respect me. Love, that's just another lie." I turned and walked out, ignoring her sobs and pleas. It hurt, more than I wanted to admit. But as I drove away, a strange sense of relief washed over me. For the first time in months, I felt free. The fallout was swift and brutal. Word of Lisa's affair spread quickly, thanks to a few well-placed whispers to mutual friends. Her job found out, and while they didn't fire her, she was passed over for a promotion she'd been gunning for. Andrew, it turned out, had his own skeletons, and their little affair didn't last long under the spotlight. As for me, I moved on. It wasn't easy, but with time, I found peace. And Lisa, she's just a memory now. A cautionary tale about trust, betrayal, and the price of playing games with someone's heart.